Ladies and gentlemen, guten Nacht and bienvenidos to a very special grudge match edition of Über Cinco. Friend of the show and host of the Maker and Me podcast, Alex Lovinggood, has officially called out Über Cinco's own Mitch Brinkman. Alex was listening to our Top 5 Regional Foods episode and was shocked and disgusted with Mitch's unhinged display, spewing nonsensical and frankly downright dangerous opinions, so much so that he called in last week to demand satisfaction. We knew the seriousness of the situation, demanded that we act accordingly. I suggested pistols at dawn. Alex came back with a much more reasonable idea of challenging Mitch to a brand new top 5 regional foods list, and so today, blood will be spilled in the Battle of the Gingers. Brinkman versus Lovinggood. Alex, welcome back to the show. This was your idea. You were upset, and you have a pretty good track record on this show. You're a formidable opponent. What do you have in store for us today?
Hey, listen, guys, I got a top 5, maybe a top 10. I don't know. We'll see how the show goes. I'm not even from Minnesota, but I was disrespected. Very disrespected by the lack of common decency that Mitch showed in that Regional Foods episode. The man is from St. Paul, Minnesota, and he didn't even choose, like, the staple sandwich, the staple burger of that area. I feel like he shouldn't be allowed back in the state, or at least to the state fair.
All right, the gauntlet has been thrown down. Mitch, your rebuttal, your opening remarks before we get started.
Yeah, I just want to point out that you said the signature burger, so that's therefore a derivative of another food. But don't worry, Alex, I'm going to give you exactly what you're asking for today. There's going to be no surprises. It's just going to be a good old-fashioned beatdown. I've brought evidence, I've brought facts, I've brought opinions, I've brought stories. So get ready. You might want to put a blanket on so you can just slip into a deep, dark depression after this butt whooping I so gently lay upon you with a Minnesota nice smile on the whole time. Enjoy.
All right. And in the interest of fairness, we're going to do things a little bit different today. We need judging to be as impartial as possible. So we have one judge from Über Cinco. That's Brian Ernst, the supreme leader himself, His Royal Highness. How you doing, Brian? Are you ready for this?
I am so ready to do everything in my power to make sure the guy on our own team loses. Let's go.
All right. And we are also welcoming special guest judge from The Maker and Me. It's Chance Ingles. Chance, welcome to the show for the very first time. We are happy to have you. Your thoughts as we get rolling here.
I am so excited to be here. I feel like a little kid. But I'm also actually probably going against my own guy. So this will be very indifferent. It's going to be fun.
The 2 seconds of the duel, self-sabotaging. Excellent. So how we're going to do this? We're going to dispense with the Uber stare downs today. This is the condition that has been requested by the challenger. And then we're going to have Brian be the judge on rounds 5 and 3. It will be his sole discretion of how the scoring is carried out. Chance will have sole discretion of the judging on rounds 4 and 2. In round 1, it will be all to play for. There will be a maximum of 6 points available as Brian and Chance can both award a maximum of 3 points, minimum of 1 point. In the event that there is a tie, I will put on my purple suit and my pearls, do my best Kamala Harris impression, and cast the deciding vote. That's how we're going to do it. After the winner is decided, we've set aside our differences, sang Kumbaya, and joined in raucous laughter at my Fast 5 send-off, the top 5 most embarrassingly named bands that I have played in. And don't forget, if you have a topic or Fast 5 or indeed smoldering resentment towards Mitch Brinkman, head on over to bizbear.biz to send in your submission. We may even cover your topic on a future episode. All right, Alex, the impetus is on you, the challenger, to get us started with your number 5.
So real quick, guys, let's talk about Mitch's home state for a minute, right? Minnesota. He's from Minnesota. He's a native Minnesota. You listen to Über Cinco, he talks about growing up there in Mike's Liquor down on 3rd Street or whatever the heck that is, and going up to a cabin with his family. On the November 30th episode, this turd didn't even go back to his home state at all in the Regional Foods episode, and it was really upsetting to me. So my number 5, guys, is a mainstay in all Minnesota church basements, all post-funeral gatherings, and all weekend gatherings. Of course, you guys know I'm talking about Hot Dish. So now let me just real quick describe hot dish for you all. So hot dish, is it a casserole? Maybe. It's a one pot, one pan meal, right? So you got a starch, you have your meat, you got some vegetables, canned or frozen or fresh, but then you're probably throwing some cream of cheddar in there, maybe cream of mushroom. Now, Mitch, these remarks to you are meant, I hope you take them personally. So you've never had hot dish. I'm just going to assume that you've never had hot dish growing up being privately schooled like you were. I'm just going to assume that you and your family turned up your noses at such a low-life, low-key dish that gained popularity, right, from budget-minded farm wives who needed to feed the family in a cheap and convenient one-pan dish, right? Guys, hot dish is everywhere in Minnesota. It's such a staple in this state, guys, that there is a congressional, did you hear me? The congressional folks get together. In 2010, Al Franken, that guy looks fucking weird, by the way. He started the Minnesota Congressional Hot Dish competition during the 2010 midterms. And wow, what names have won this, you guys? Al Franken himself has won. Amy Klobuchar, wasn't she a Democratic going for for the presidency in the midterms?
Candidate is the word they use.
Candidate,
Yeah.
there we go. Thank you all.
Yeah.
And check this out. Mitch, what's your governor's name up there? Never mind,
Tim
you
Walz.
don't know. His name's Tim Walz.
Tim Walz. Yeah,
And guys, Governor Tim Walz, before he was in the gubernatorial office, he won 3 titles. Guys, 3 titles.
What years did he win?
Oh, gosh. He won 2012, 2013, and 2017?
Wrong.
Guys,
13, 14, and 16.
There
Thank you
we
very
go.
much. Keep going.
Oh, he didn't win. Okay, that's a 3-peat. Guys, it's a dish
Yes, he did.
so iconic that the fucking government panders to it. I rest my case. Minnesota hot dish, guys.
What I love about this is the name. There couldn't be just more simple, like, oh, what's that dish is hot. That's hot dish. Which it sounds like a distant cousin of dump cake.
Yeah.
You guys ever have dump cake?
Yes.
Let me set the scene for you, though, Nathan, real quick, all right? A far-off high school classmate of yours passed away, and you go to his funeral. You walk into the Roseville.
I literally thought you were just delivering news to me for a second.
You walk into the Roseville Methodist Church basement. You see your 7-layer dip. You see somebody brought Chili's. Somebody went to KFC and got a family bucket because that's what people do.
This
at
sounds
least in
right.
Missouri. And then you see a clear 8x10 dish that's smoldering, a little bit of bubbles coming from the cheese around the edge, and then it's just loaded with nice rows of tater tots. That's hot dish right there for you, bud.
I have had this in the exact church basement that you just referenced. I'm not scoring this round, but that would have got a point from me. I think so. This is a good start. You're going right for the jugular. You're going for Mitch's hometown. Mitch, what's your rebuttal here? What's your number 5?
My rebuttal is actually a classic from the area-ish where Alex Lovinggood spent his high school days, but the area if he weren't a greasy old stumblebum, because he wasn't lucky enough to live in Springfield, Illinois, which is where my number 5 comes from, the Horseshoe.
Oh, man.
This is a classic dish created at the Leland Hotel in 1920. You got 2 pieces of toast. Originally, on top of that, you put nails, aka French fries, and then you top that with a horseshoe-shaped piece of ham. Thankfully, they didn't look at it upside down. Otherwise, it would have been, I don't know, the U, maybe. Then you top it with Welsh rarebit, which is a beautiful cheese sauce made with mustard and some beer. Hey, can we not eat chips while your opponent's trying to talk here? Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, a pretzel. Okay. Bite closer to the mic. That'd be great. But so this is such an indicator of this part of the state for everything but the politics, because of course Springfield has a wonderful history of politics, it being the capital, the birthplace of Abe Lincoln and whatnot. But this is such a intensely horrible dish to try and eat. You have to be drunk or hungover. It's just cheese sauce, French fries, fat Texas toast. One of the great places that serves them right now, Darcy's Pint down there in Springfield, they do buffalo. they do Cajun, they do Irish style, but all of them result in horrifying mud butt. Alex, again, please turn off your notification sounds. My God, have a little respect for other people in the game. My Lord,
Turn it off here.
Jesus Christ!
We're on silent
what
mode.
kind
We're
of
good.
Nathan, Brian? You ever bring me this bush league ass competition again? I'm gonna quit Uber Cinco.
You're acting like we
seriously.
called you
Okay.
out. We have nothing to do with this. You accepted this challenge. This is on you now.
Okay, but back to the horseshoe. Nathan, yes?
Yeah, I want to jump in here because I am from downstate Illinois, so this is something I have a lot of experience in. I've had horseshoes from two places, from Darcy's Pint, where you mentioned.
Yep, there you go.
And then also every 2 weeks for the first 18 years of my life at our school cafeteria. And let me describe that horseshoe to you. That was the bottom half of a hamburger bun that was so soggy McDonald's would have thrown it aside. Then you had a razor thin hamburger patty that could have cut diamonds. It was so well done. Then the fries that are just like made out of starch, topped with simple melted, terrible nacho cheese that coagulates into a Play-Doh like substance after about 2 minutes. And because it was Roseville and technically there were 3 different food groups on that plate, they didn't give us anything else with it. And so that was my experience with the horseshoe growing up. So I thought I knew what a horseshoe was until I finally went to Darcy's Pint when I was like in my 20s, and it was much better. So this is a nice walk down memory lane. Have you had a particularly good horseshoe in your life? Where was it? What were the circumstances? Paint me the picture.
The best one was at Darcy's Pint, and I got the fried chicken breast, or like pounded filet. I asked for the non-crinkle cut French fries. I believe straight cut French fry is the superior fry. That's just is. And then I went pretty casual, regular cheese sauce. Their sauce doesn't coagulate so quickly, which is nice. And then the very thick Texas toast. I think I got the full horseshoe. I didn't need it. I think I maybe finished half of it, and then I directly got into a car and finished a car trip down to St. Louis. So I was apologizing to my car mates all the way down. But
I would
yeah,
like to say that I too have had a Darcy's horseshoe. I had one the day after celebrating Jesse White's 89th birthday with Governor Pritzker here. There's me and Pritzker hanging out the day before his birthday party, and then there's myself and Jesse White the night of his birthday. Hanging out. And then, of course, drunkenly hungover, went to Darcy's the next day. I got the breakfast horseshoe. So it had eggs, it had gravy, then it had the cheese sauce on top. But yeah, it's a good solid contester, man.
What time of night does Jesse pull out the mat and ask you to do cartwheels for him?
So it's really funny. He did have the tumblers come and do it, but it was also George Clinton was also the act that was playing. I also saw George Clinton at Jesse White's birthday at the governor's mansion.
Jesse White is, for those of you who don't know, for many years Secretary of State of Illinois, and famous for this group of tumblers that they were tumblers. They were the Jesse White tumblers. They're very famous.
White tumblers, yeah.
So that's what they're known for.
Ages 7 through 16, they really light up the crowd at a Bulls halftime.
But the question we're not asking: what the hell was Alex doing at this party? How did that come about?
I also have a lot of photos of me with Mike Madigan and previous governor. What's the one guy's name before?
Rod Blagojevich.
Not Blagojevich.
Don't say it. Let him find it.
George Ryan.
Let him find it.
Not George.
Watch Alex stumble. Let's let him find it.
I'm just going to say it during the show at some point, and then we'll go back to it.
Was he one of our governors who has done jail time? Or
no, he was actually the most honest one.
Okay.
Bruce Rauner?
Bruce Rauner, yes, yeah.
The most honest one?
He was the most honest
He
one?
was the people's
What?
billionaire.
All right, let's not veer into Illinois
Move this
politics.
on.
He
Let's
was the
this has
people's
been a
billionaire,
lot more
guys.
state
Come on.
represented.
Oh boy.
let's score this round.
so glad
I don't
you-
want to talk
I'm
about
so
Illinois
glad-
politics.
let's keep moving here.
All right, we need some points. All right, I said one of you was going to score. I think it was
I
Brian.
believe
Brian,
this is my doing. And this is going to be an Uber Cinco first, everybody. First of all, both of you picked sloppy diarrhea dishes to put on this list that I have to score. You look at a photo of a Minnesota hot dish or a horseshoe, it looks like something that's already been digested and reserved at your local gas station. So, first of all, Mitch, I've had a horseshoe one time. It was one of the cafeteria horseshoes, not a Darcy's horseshoe. So my only experience is Wonder Bread toasted with ground beef from Taco Bell, basically, with old French fries and probably some sort of Velveeta nacho cheese on top of it. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. So I can only give you
Thoughts
1
and prayers,
point
bud.
for the horseshoe. And Alex. Oh, Alex, you son of a bitch. For masticating into the mic, updating your all male OnlyFans on the phone the entire time you've been on this, and calling Bruce Rauner the people's governor, you are getting
I said the people's billionaire.
0 points for round 1, an unprecedented 0 points for all of this upstaging shenanigans. I rest my case. 1-0. Go on to number 4. God damn it.
I thought you were on my side.
I was, and you ruined it. You ruined it in round 1. So good luck the rest of the show.
this is the risk you
All
take
right.
when you come on the show, Alex. You knew what you're getting into.
Good
All right,
Lord.
let's do the classic snake formation. Mitch, why don't you hit us with your number 4?
Sure, yeah. Guys, this number 4 is so goddamn epic and intense and powerful. It needs a music cue. Brian, please.
I want some hots. I want some Nick Tahoe's hots. I want some hots. I want some Nick Tahoe's hots.
All right,
All right,
what was
enough
that?
pandering. Get on with it.
what was that, Mitch?
So-
What did I just listen to?
This Nick Tahoe's Hots is the birthplace of my number 4, and that is the Garbage Plate, which resides in Rochester, New York, which is a huge college town. And the Garbage Plate, it serves the college population with excitement, with gusto, and has been doing it since like the 70s or whatever. The name Garbage Plate was trademarked in 1992 by Nick Tahoe himself. Mr. Tahoe, wonderful guy, just makes a great meat sauce, really nice guy. Doesn't have the internet, but he does talk on the phone. Super cool dude. But Garbage Plate, it starts with a base. You got to have your base. And that is normally, you got home fries you could do, pasta salad, baked beans, mac and cheese, French fries, or some other kind of, starch-based item. Then next, you got your protein, which originally the Garbage Plate was cut up hot dogs, very classy, but now they call it the Hamburg, which hamburger is the most popular choice these days. Some places do eggs, you could do fish, whatever, your local bar, American Legion is offering at the time on their Garbage Plate. And Alex, do you want to pour your drink just into the mic? You want to pour it onto the mic, maybe? Maybe that would help a little better.
Also, Alex, can you just tell us what you're drinking today? What was the term you used before we started the show?
I'm drinking jug liquor right
There
now.
we go. Yep. All right. Mitch, please continue, Mitch.
Thank you. Sorry. And then of course, and then after you get your meat, your protein, then you top it with meat sauce and onions and bright yellow mustard. And it wasn't this way in the beginning, but now traditionally it's also served with a bread roll or some slices to just sop up all those sweet, delicious juices. And this thing has an incredible history to it. People started making it originally in 1918. They called it Hots and Potats then. Basically what this is like, a restaurant was like, we're about to close. People were like, we're drunk, we're hungry. What do you have? And they're like, we got some potatoes. We can fry those up and just a bunch of garbage to throw on top. And they're like, there's not enough flavor here. Can you put some mustard on it? I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Then they're like, my breath doesn't stink bad enough. Can you put some onions on it? And you're like, you got it, bud. And so the garbage plate is just you are worshiping at the altar of vile, as Brian said, already digested gluttony. And I have never had a garbage plate in Rochester, New York, but I make my own garbage plates at home. I love Nathan. I've actually made you a garbage plate before.
I recall.
We've all had your cooking before, Mitch. Yes, continue.
Oh yes, Brian. I bow to you.
You know what I'm going to check out you, Brian.
Mine, macaroni is there for me. I like a ketchup, Worcestershire, meat sauce, French fry thing. I like to up the fancy a little bit with some caramelized onions. Then I like green onions in mine as well, and then a bunch more ketchup, a little mustard to top, and then a nice chunk of bread to sop it up with. But this garbage plate has.
I do want to do the rare thing these days and pay you a compliment, Mitch, because that seems rare on this show over the last couple of weeks. People have been coming at you hot, so I'm going to give you a well-deserved compliment. The thing is, like, as disgusting as everything you've described with the garbage plate is, you are such an annoyingly good cook that it was very good when you made me a garbage plate.
It's true.
You somehow you told me what you were doing, and I was like, this isn't going to end well. And then sure enough, there's this masterpiece, and it was even presented well. Like, I'm pretty sure you had like monogrammed my initials in it somehow. It was delightful.
I always do. Yep. Nathan George Hennenfent NGH right on top in mustard. Yeah. Wow. And what it is also I like to do with my garbage plates, I like to hide a lot of vegetables in there too. So you feel like you're getting this wonderful rib sticking hungover meal, but really you're also getting a lot of nutrients in there too. So but the garbage plate, if you listen to more of that song, Nick Tahoe's Hots, there's a bunch of great Buffalo accents, and they talk about going to the Buffalo Bills game a lot. And it sounds like a Bill Swirsky super fan song almost. So I highly recommend it.
I want some Nick Tahoe's Hots.
But also I just imagine though, because I've heard stories from people who grew up in Buffalo, like going to Nick Tahoe's Hots on a Friday at like 11:30 p.m. would probably be like entering the 12th circle of hell. Like you're past the 7. It's like, it's probably just the worst, get it to go. Even if it's not COVID times. So, that is my number 4. It is the garbage plate. I humbly place it, at your altar. And I also want to say, there's a lot of messy foods on my list today.
Yeah,
so Brian, get ready for messy. My bad.
You just prepare for the judging rounds. Chance and I will not hold back. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Alex, that leaves it to you. Your number 4, if you please.
Yeah. So, this is, it's your garbage plate, your number 4 garbage plate and my number 4 are eerily similar. But there's just one difference is mine's not reminiscent of a skillet that you get at breakfast. Mine is reminiscent of a sandwich. So, depending on where you are in the Midwest, the sandwich can be called the New Way. It can be called the Steamer, the Big T, or the Loose Hamburger Sandwich, the Tavern Sandwich, or just a Made Right. So my number 4, guys, is something that I affectionately call and make probably 2 to 3 times a month, the Loose Meat Sando. Now, a loose meat sando is a very, very messy dish. And it's not a sloppy Joe. There's a big difference between a sloppy Joe. Sloppy Joe, you're putting maybe some
a lot more flavor into it.
Yeah, flavor, I think is the word. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Come to Iowa, have a loose meat sando, and then we'll have a discussion about this. Sloppy Joe.
I've had them. They're gross.
Cool. Sounds good. Do you guys recall me interrupting Mitch as much as he's interrupting me right now? It's weird.
Not with words.
Regardless, sloppy Joe, you're putting tomato paste, all this stuff in there. Loose meat sando, guys. You're getting your ground beef. You're smashing that stuff up as like crumbly as possible. You don't want any big chunks. You want it as loose as possible. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, maybe some very fine diced onion in there. And then ready for it? I'm going to give you all a secret. You're not going to have to pay for this right now, but Dr. Pepper. Throw about 12 ounces of Dr. Pepper in there. Let that simmer out. You're essentially getting the sugars created and concentrated in there. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to take a bottle of mustard, and if it's not Plockman's, you can fuck off. You're going to take a bottle of flock made in Manteno, Illinois, and you're going to dump about half of that bottle of mustard right onto that meat, and you're going to swirl it up and mix it in there. And you don't want this to be sloppy. It's going to be a drier sandwich than a sloppy Joe. And then you're going to put it on the cheapest bun you can find. And you just pull it up there. You're going to go bun. You're going to go as big of a heat, maybe 4 ounces of chopped meat. And then you're going to get some Hy-Vee brand dill pickles. And you're going to put about 7 of those puppies on there. And then you're going to put Nathan George Hennenfent's NGH's initials right on top in mustard. Put the top bun on there and enjoy, guys. The loose meat sandwich, guys, is a Midwest Iowa staple. It's Carol Dietz, a gal named Carol Dietz started. She's the reason why it's here. She started it in Montana in about 1920. Okay, but then there was a gentleman named Fred Agnow in 1926. He brought it to Iowa, to Muscatine, Iowa. You guys know what Muscatine, Iowa is, right? It's one of the Quad Cities.
Yes,
and he brought that
that's
there.
true.
He opened a little restaurant that we all know and love these days called the Made Right. And since then, guys, the loose meat sandwich has been a staple in the state of Illinois, or the state of Iowa, almost more than, I don't know, tenderloin, maybe. It's just such a delicious, delicious sandwich. It's messy. Yes, it is. But a loose meat sandwich is the ultimate all-American road feast, guys. And if you're ever lucky enough to have one at Tasty or Made Right in Muscatine, you'll know what all the fuss is about.
May I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah.
After you made me that with the monogrammed, I appreciate the generosity.
Sorry,
I do want.
I'm just getting a little teary-eyed here.
I want some practical advice because I've had many of these over the years being a Midwestern boy. And I would say my all-time highest field goal percentage of actually getting the loose meat from the sandwich to my digestive tract is probably 35%. This shit gets everywhere.
You're going to need a spoon. And, it's kind of like eating an Italian beef when you're in Chicago. So you have your bar. You're going to want to step back your legs about 2 feet back, but you're going to want your upper half to be still above the table or bar. That way, if you drop, it's going straight to the ground and not on your belly or your legs.
In this amazing showdown of culinary masterpieces and delicacies, Chance has the unenviable task of scoring a sandwich you eat with a spoon and food that is literally called garbage. Chance.
And I can't wait. All right.
What is your verdict?
Well,
let us know.
I'm just going to insult Lovinggood right away. So, first off, you don't ever use a fucking spoon. So, if you're going to eat the loose meat sandwich, you're going to eat your Made Right. You have your Lay's chips underneath on the plate. So, as you're eating it and it falls all over that, now you have a second meal. It's pretty much white trash nachos, and they're the best.
Iowa nachos, yeah.
So, fucking, and like, honestly, the fact that even in your thing, you mentioned the tenderloin, but you still went with the loose meat sandwich is just weird to me. And like, so I think that loses you a point. But I do love this sandwich very much. So on that grounds alone, you get a point from me, Lovinggood, but just one.
Just one
point.
Just one. No, you offended me. You said a spoon. You're not eating it with a spoon. I'd rather see you use your fingers. How dare you? And, a little secret, use Dr. Pepper. Oh, my God. Fucking, that's genius.
The sugar's caramelized, and they add sweet.
Did you learn that from, like, any old, like, white grandma? Because it's not that secret. It's not a secret.
Yes, I did.
Old Mitchy boy. Mitchy boy. You for sure get a point just for the intro.
Thank you.
The music alone was fantastic. And like the garbage, it sounds terrible for me. It sounds like I only eat so much Tums. But I don't know, anything smothered and then has like a bunch of onions and things that just will make my breath terrible. For some reason always calls to me. So like I like that as well. But yeah, I think I'm going to give you 2 points. Congratulations. You get 2 points from me.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chance.
We are off to on pace for our lowest ever scoring episode. So that's when we literally structured it so the scores would be higher. But yes, Mitch.
Can Just a few quick things. Made right. I remember when it was a fucking hamburger. Number 2, Muscatine is not one of the Quad Cities. It's Bettendorf, Moline, what is that? Davenport and Rock Island. So I'm sorry. Again, wrong. Also, I've been to Made Right in Muscatine when I was there in 2008, winning the election for Obama. And I went there and I got a sandwich. I got 2 of them and I ate them and I went, yeah, I think I'd prefer a burger. And then I went and I got a burger. So
you ate 3 sandwiches?
Yes. I was a growing young man, and Obama's campaign was paying for it. So I was like, let's do it.
And, as long as we're going back to talk about inconsistencies, you called Springfield, Illinois, Abe Lincoln's hometown while he was born in, Spring something or other, Kentucky. So let's go ahead and move on.
But I was going to be the gentleman and let that go, but yes, that is true.
I remembered it.
Yeah. All right, Alex, keep us rolling here. Let's hear your number 3.
All right, it's a foggy day. You're up at 5 a.m.
Which
foggy.
Which one of us is up at 5 a.m.?
Still up at 5 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
All
Still
right.
up.
Let's all close our eyes. You smell salt water. It's a little bit briny. You're really enjoying the breeze coming off the ocean in New England, coming down from Prince Edward Island. You're out on a boat with a bunch of other ruffian-looking men, and you're going for clams. Guys, my number 3 is Stuffies. New England's probably finest delicacy up there. Guys, I was a down home, simply raised person. We didn't have luxury dinners loaded with lobsters and oysters and delicious seafood like Mitch did in his mansion. And I'm only assuming that he lived in a mansion since he went to private school and he owns more than one suit. So, guys, Stuffies are a New England staple. Stuffies, for those of you who don't know, are a hard-shelled quahog clam. All right, you're going to go ahead and stuff that clam or shuck that clam. You're going to go ahead and mince up the meat. You're going to add breadcrumbs. You're going to add spices, onions, peppers, different sausages, chorizo, bacon, ground beef, kind of whatever you want. What are you around? Then you're going to take that, about 2 ounces of that. You're going to shove it back on the clam shell itself, and you're going to go ahead and oven roast that. And then out comes a piping hot mixture of just almost like a seafood ball of deliciousness. That's going to be briny, and it's going to be spicy, and it's going to be flavorful. The Stuffies, guys, you go up to any New England bar up there off the coast, specifically Matt's Tavern. Now, Matt's Tavern is in the town of Portland, Maine. And Matt's Tavern is known for having some of the best Stuffies in the Northeast and the New England territory. Fresh from the boat, you get these Stuffies, and they come out. And sometimes you get a quahog shell that's the size of a softball, and you get 2 or 3 of those in your belly and a couple of cold beers. I mean, what else can you have? You got a nice a salty breeze coming in off the ocean. Damn, that sounds great. Stuffies been around forever, guys. There's no official. I looked up for an official, kind of who started it, where'd it come from, but it's such a staple for that region that it's literally been around forever, all the way back to the Indians before Columbus came over and raped and pillaged everything.
This might be our first food that is not just a bunch of other food being thrown on top of a food, but it also kind of is that. So I really like. I'm enjoying this.
And Nathan, to your point, Stuffies can be working class. They can be doctored up. You can go to a 5-star restaurant and get a good Stuffy that has expensive clams and and fucking organic fair trade green peppers that nobody asked for. Chopped up in there. So, I mean, this is literally an array of things that you can use for Stuffies, between, the highbrow Mitch Brinkmans to the lowbrow Alex Lovinggoods. So
have you been to Matt's Tavern in Portland, Maine?
No, I have not, but I've had Stuffies. The closest I've been to having Stuffies on the East Coast was in Washington D.C. So
Okay.
I've
Look
not
at
been up
this.
there myself, but
How
it's-
were you there on a were you traveling with some other high profile Illinois politicians? Were you with Senator Dick Durbin that day? These are the people you hang out with, I guess.
Not with Dick Durbin, but I was with the and you know what? I'm going to forget the Republican senator who denounced Trump after the
Kinzinger.
he voted. Kinzinger. I was actually Adam Kinzinger gave me a tour of the Capitol, and then right after this, I went to a certain spot, and then after that, we had dinner and we had Stuffies. So
I have never had a friend in my life who has surprised me more than you. I just never know what you're going to bring to the table.
hey, listen, I look the way I do, but I do what I do because I like doing it. So.
Can I offer a compliment here too? I don't think that's ever happened before on Über Cinco, Alex, where someone delivers such a succinct, beautifully written, like passionate speech, whatever, about the one of the items they're listing, and then to have complete silence afterwards. And just zero reaction. It's beautiful to see. I love it.
That's
First time
weird.
ever. So
I'd like to hear your
also,
number three, Mitch.
you said New England so many times. I was thinking, does he know what states make up New England? And then you
That's
said
what I was
Maine,
thinking.
so I was happy to hear that. But
All right, Mitch, keep this energy going. Keep this energy going
Yeah,
into your number
absolutely.
3. Roll with
Yeah.
it.
my number 3 is a Midwestern
You know what, Mitch? I would like
party.
to offer a compliment to you.
Yeah, sure. Bring it up. Let's go.
You look nice today. I like your shirt. So yeah, continue.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm actually kind of bummed you're hiding your hair tonight with that hat. I wish you'd take it off and let it flow.
I
But
chopped it off.
Whoa!
Oh my God!
No.
Whoa!
holy shit!
That's a surprise.
Whoa! You're the most surprising friend we have.
Some friends, you didn't even know he cut his hair.
Good point.
Jesus
Good point.
Christ.
All right, as
Chance,
wonderful as
he raised
wonderful
over
as visual stuff is on a strictly audio format,
Yeah, sorry.
let's have your number 3, bitch.
Sorry. Yeah, my number 3 is a wonderful party finger food staple, and that is one of my favorite apps. That is the Pickle Roll Up. This is a dynamite party food. You'll find this all over the Midwest. Classy parties, less classy parties, they're at all of them. You lay out some corned beef, you slather that bitch in some cream cheese, you put a big old fat dill pickle in there, you roll it up, you slice it, you serve. It is amazing. If you want to switch it up a little bit, you want to get some more German flavor in there, throw a little sauerkraut in the roll up, put some Thousand Island in there, make it spicy, as we say in the Midwest. These are incredible because, again, you don't need a spoon to eat these. You don't need a napkin. You don't need a fork. You don't need a silver knife. You just use your index and your thumb, and you'll know where they are at the Christmas party because all the brand new sweaters will be huddled around it. Everyone's holding the glass of punch, trying to make small talk with their relatives, as everyone's quietly having a race to see who can eat the most pickle roll-ups because they're a little bit of work. So pickle roll-ups do not last the whole party. So you got to get on them early and quickly. So you will be having a conversation, trying to politely talk and shovel these things into your mouth. It is the savoriness of the meat, the creaminess of the cheese, and then of course that tang and that beautiful little pucker from the pickle. It is a perfect food. Again, I lay at your feet the humble pickle roll up. Thank you very much.
I don't want to try and be too influential onto the scoring, as that's not my role today, but I will say that I am a fan of when finger foods are included on this. Just simple, brilliant, no need for cutlery. Also, did you know that humans just never had overbites until the fork was invented? It just wasn't a thing. But it's using forks that causes humans to have overbites. Bet you guys didn't even know that. All right, that's enough education. Any rebuttal? I'm a fan of the pickle roll-ups. Brian, I know you're scoring this
real
round.
Big fan of pickle roll-ups myself. So seriously applaud you on this one.
All right, well then, Brian, it's up to you. This is your round to score. I leave it to you, sir.
as much as I wanted to be a mean, influential Simon Cowley type judge, I can't for this round because Mr. Lovinggood, you had me at seafood ball of deliciousness, and these things look phenomenal. So you're getting 3 points for this round. And Mitch, I really, really wanted to give you 1 point, not even hearing what the food was, but then you sold me. I fucking hate pickles, and this is the only food that gets me to eat pickles. So you got to get 3 points for this round. It's a hell of a pick. 3 points for both you guys.
Can I offer an aside real quick, Mitch? What brand of corned beef are you using? There is a right answer here.
Probably go Boar's Head, I guess. I don't know. I guess I just go to the grocery store and get whatever that is there. But
I
what's
would
your
like
brand?
to offer for and that's the highbrow money showing there because my family went for Buddig, which was the cheap 1 ounce packets that you got for 98 cents. Just saying that's a very highbrow answer for Mitch to say Boar's Head. Where Buddig is, I think, the preferred corned beef for
I don't think anybody thinks it's the
I'm gonna go ahead and
preferred.
I want to give a brief status update on this show that's supposed to be about delicious food. And if you combine some of the dishes today, we would have hot dish of garbage with Buddig. So I'm not sure if we're achieving our goal here, but let's keep trying in the spirit of fairness.
Sure.
Alex, Alex, give me your number 2.
Oh gosh, guys. So the number 2 for today is something. So we're going back to DC, right? I was just in DC. I was with Adam Kinzinger, a Republican. There's a little something coming out of DC called the half smoke. Right now, some people look and they go, "Oh, half smoke, that's a hot dog," and I'm like, "Well, no, it's not. It's not a hot dog. It's a sausage, right?" Well, hold on here. I got to pull up my notes here that I have on this.
What is a sausage? Let me look this up. What is a sausage again? What is a sausage?
Do they have budding sausage?
Guys, a half smoke is a local sausage delicacy.
How to afford budding sausage?
Oh, fuck you guys. So, guys, the original half smoke is considered to be distributed by DC Briggs and Company, Mate Packers, and it originated right around 1950. Though Raymond Briggs, the guy who started that, he started selling his half smokes in about 1930. And it's half pork, it's half beef, it's smoked. It's a coarser grind. So it's not, it's a little bit wider. It's about the size of a bratwurst. But with a nice casing on there, and they're going to smoke these. It's a smoked sausage. And then what typically will happen is they finish them off on a flat top, guys, and they get a nice sear on both sides. And a show of hands, has anyone been to Ben's Chili Bowl in Washington, D.C.?
I have, yes.
Oh. Guys, Ben's Chili Bowl is the epitome of the best half smoke in DC. So what you're going to get here is you're going to get a half smoke. You're going to get a nice bun, of just flour, water, regular old bun. You're going to get, they call it chili. And as a chili champion, I would argue that it is a chili. It is a no bean, which my award-winning chili is no bean. So I'm not arguing no beans or beans here. I'm not taking a side here, guys. Let's not get political. Get off my back, Jesus Christ. It is a no bean meat sauce, a little bit sweeter, and they're going to put onions on here. They're going to put some peppers on there and mustard. And the half smoke is just one of the absolute best. I mean, this is hyper regional, if you will, because DC is kind of where this originated. I mean, you've got a good snap. You've got good flavor. You've got that umami of pork and sausage, pork and beef coming through in this bite. You have the sweetness of the meat sauce that's flavored up. You have the tang of the chili. And then if you go to this DC staple, you have Ben and Virginia, the owners and founders of this place. Rest in peace, Ben. Rest in peace, Ben. That slave 24 hours a day to give these half smokes to the people. Listen,
I I've had this. I've had
It
this.
is. I went to DC. I was in DC
fine.
about 3 years ago, and we went to Ben's Chili Bowl for 5 nights. Is that Mitch yawning? Oh, that's
Sorry.
funny. We went to
I fell
Ben's
asleep
Chili
a little
Bowl and
bit.
had a half smoke, literally for 5 nights, and every night I ordered 2 half smokes, and then chili cheese fries with half smoke chopped up on top of it. The half smoke, guys, is a. I mean, it's not been around long, but Mitch, you talk about Barack Obama quite often on the show, how you helped him win the election. Barack Obama himself has been to Ben's Chili Bowl and named it a local legend, a place where you should go once in your life because of the half smoke.
Did he mean that
about
as
5
just
times in a
go there once because once is enough, or is
Oh, no, I
5
will tell
nights
you
a
that
week?
my digestive tract was fucked that entire week, but it is. So here was the situation. I got a tour of the Capitol pre.
Yes,
by
as
Adam
you
Kinzinger.
scarcely mentioned every 5 minutes on the show today.
We went to Ben's Chili Bowl. And
Wait,
then we
what was this? What was this tour from Speaker Denny Hastert? Was you just?
It was me and Mitch
people.
McConnell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
The
course.
turtle himself. But guys, I rest my case. The half smoke is a regional delicacy. And maybe I scored it high on my list because it's one of my favorite foods. Anything encased that is in a form where you can easily insert it into your mouth in a bun with a good sauce on top, I'm going to enjoy. But also, this is a messy food, so
that's a pretty broad category you've just described.
Even if it's made out
Food
of
that he
pudding.
can insert into his mouth that's high on his list.
Hey, Chance, just so you know, I know that you love hot dogs, so what's up?
Lot of innuendo could be read into that. All right.
Phallic looking going into his mouth is his preferred food of choice. Got it.
Okay. Well, Mitch, we've got to have your riposte, please.
Of course, yeah. I'm kind of surprised. I have a feeling like we're not going to have any Southern barbecue on this list between the two of us. I would have thought maybe a brisket would have gone there. But this number 2 of mine is the closest there is, and that is the beautiful barbecue tradition of whole hog barbecue. Now, this happens pretty much in just the Carolinas and Tennessee. And this dates back to, for the U.S., ancient. This is goes back to the Native Americans, and then it became more widely popular when African Americans would do whole hogs on plantations to celebrate big life events. And this is an insanely delicious way to cook a pig. It is a wood fire. If you do it quick, like they do in the Carolinas, you do it in 12 hours, a little higher heat. That crisps up the skin a little more. You chop that puppy up with the meat when you're serving it as well. If you go west to Tennessee, they're going to take a full 24. The skin's going to stay a little softer, a little more pliable. But I highly recommend, if you are interested in this, check out Netflix. Was it Chef's Table Barbecue, whatever it's called? Rodney Scott. Does an incredible whole hog barbecue. But what I love about this is that basically it's just putting the meat on a fucking platter on a stage and saying, this is it. This is all you need. Maybe a little vinegar sauce to bring out the flavors of the sparing seasonings you've applied to the pig. And I have not been to Rodney Scott's in Charleston or in Hemingway, the original location. I hope to one day. That is a place that is on my holy grail of food stops here in America. But what I have done is I have been on a team of 3 that's cooked a whole hog in an underground pit, and I've done it twice over, and it is a hell of a job, but when it is done, it is incredible. This one, we dug a pit, you make wood coals, you put a chunk of metal down, you wrap a pig in burlap that's been soaked, you season that mother oinker, put another chunk of metal on top, more coals, and then you bury that bitch, bury that hog, excuse me. And then you let it sit overnight, and then you dig it up, and that is brunch, baby. That's a whole pig brunch. It is. There's no better feeling than just like flopping out a giant cooked pig on a big wooden table outdoors in Kentucky where I was. Everyone having a knife, cutting off hunks of pork, sauce right there, cold beer, and then when one of the people in your party, a fellow named Charlie, he has a really nice sharp knife. Carefully cuts off the face of the pig, a la the CPR doll in the Office episode, puts it on his face and runs around scaring people, and then hides it away and takes out at night and scares people again in the woods when they're walking down to the lake to smoke a joint.
Dear God. I was, Mitch, I had 2 follow-up questions I had jotted down here, and they were going to be, one, when was this? 2, why was your phone broken? Because obviously we're eating this delicious dish and your phone was working, you would have called me. And then you told me this knife and pig face stuff, and I'm no longer upset. So that's
yeah. This was in the deep woods.
He was also standing outside of your window at that night too. So
stroking the pig's face.
Actually, there are pictures of Mitch. I believe there are a sophomore year in college. There was a series of photos in the infancy of Facebook where Mitch had cut a face out of a piece of lunch meat ham and was like sticking his face around corners.
I have seen this photo.
They were taken by our dear friend Brad Berry, I believe. So this is Mitch is the only person I know who has 2 stories of having pork plastered onto his face late at night.
And I can also say when we buried the pig to cook, I can't remember what it was that I was drinking. Probably like whiskey shots or something. We were in the woods of Kentucky where you don't get cell service. And I was jumping over the fire that we had started to create the coals. And they were like, "Why are you doing that?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm drunk," running around like an idiot. And don't really remember. You don't really remember jumping over the fire. That's how many sheets to the wind I was. But then waking up in the morning, one of the worst hangovers ever, and I was woken up by the scent of hog. And that is a wonderful hangover breakfast right there. Just delicious, fatty, greasy pork, and a nice cold beer to nurse it all down too. So that is my number 2. Again, this is a list of humble foods from honest, good people, and I lay it at your altar. Please take it. Please enjoy it. And share it with
Lord.
us. Thank you very much.
Highbrow, caviar eating, multi-suit owning, mansion living in son of a bitch.
This is the same guy that once got ridiculed on a film shoot for ordering what was that pizza order?
It was a green olive and ricotta pizza. We asked him to order pizza for everyone. Usually you'd get a cheese, a sausage, and a pepperoni. This man orders a ricotta and green olive pizza, and he will never, ever live it down.
And then all of a sudden today, it's food that's literally called garbage and shit that's been buried underground for 24 hours. Wow.
I have a quick anecdote before you get to the things. I don't know when I'll be able to tell a whole hog story again. I remember being at a family or work gathering, whatever. They were cooking a whole hog in the forest preserve or whatever. And I remember going up to him being like, "Does the pig still have a tail?" I'm like 11 years old. And the guy goes, "Yeah." And he goes up, he grabs the pigtail, he cracks it off with a crunch, and it pulls part of the ass with it. And he gives it to me like a fucking ice cream cone, to tail side down. So I'm walking around with this pigtail and part of its ass in my hand, going to my parents. I'm like, "Look at this. I got the pig's tail." And that is burned in my mind for all eternity.
Wow.
But you get 3 wishes granted to you if you get part of the ass pulled off with the tail. That's.
I mean, there I was with my goddamn hog butthole cone. That was just, I was not expecting to have. So.
Good Lord, where do we go from there?
I don't know. Chance,
restore some sanity, Chance. We need some scores. Please hit us with the scores for round 2.
I don't know where to go with after that wonderful eating ass story. All right. Mitch, honestly, I've never got to do one of those. I've always thought that'd be the coolest thing to cook a whole pig. I don't know why, but just you talking about like cutting it off and everything and just eating like a savage, that appeals to me because I look like I'm kind of caught somewhere between like being a fully like developed human and like somewhere between that and Neanderthal. So like I would love to do that.
You're not wrong, yeah.
Yeah, shut up. You cut your hair. You don't have the power anymore. So that alone sounds amazing. Then you're just describing the fact that someone cut off the pig's face and wore it. And you said like ice cold beer twice, and I don't know why, but just the basic like white dad me was like, yep. So you get 3 points. Lovinggood. You son of a bitch. You know my love for dick looking foods, and man, I love hot dogs, and that sounds like the best version of it. And but I think for a minute there you thought that you got points for every time you said the name of the food you were representing, and I just wanted to let you know you don't, so you didn't need to say it 14 times. But good news, you still get 3 points.
All right.
Ooh, yeah, baby.
All right, we are moving. It is still anyone's game. It is all to play for. As we stated earlier, points are going to be doubled here potentially, as both Brian and Chance will be giving up to 3 points as we enter our number 1 round. And oh boy, who do I want to start with? It's going to be fireworks either way. And I think for those of you who are not on the YouTube feed right now, Alex has placed a bottle of champagne very prominently within his picture here on our chat. He is anticipating, and Mitch is now drinking champagne. This is actually happening. The overconfidence from both contestants is staggering. And Mitch has now demonstrably proved the bottle of champagne is already empty. So we are. This is getting out of line in a hurry. I must. Oh boy, this is going to be epic. I think Mitch. I'm going to have.
There are way too many cocky redheads in this call.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Mitch to give the number 1 first. Then we'll go over to Alex. There's going to be some controversy on both ends. I anticipate. Mitch, please, your number 1 and your redemption grudge match top 5 regional foods list.
Yeah. All right, Alex. This is what you wanted, right? This is what you wanted. This is the whole challenge. This is why you called in and interrupted our fucking fireworks show we were doing. We were on a roll, and you called in. You stumbled through our virtual room and just had to yell and throw your poop against the wall.
If I recall, I called in and saved Brian from having to talk about your stupid fucking haircut conversation again. So.
That was a book. That was a self-published book about men's haircuts, and it was backed up with evidence. And excuse me, 1 second. That was a champagne victory burp. My number 1, okay?
Celebrate,
Alex, how are you throwing shade about haircuts now when you just chopped off that glorious mane in a moment of madness? You're getting out of line, my friend.
As many of you know, my daughter was born prematurely, so I wanted to have some good photos with her. I don't know. I cut it into a mullet, and I fucking had a moment of weakness, and I cut it off. I can't bullshit here.
I was gonna say, I'm like, do you want to bring up your cancer too, like anyone else, real quick? Jesus Christ!
Jeez, you got any dead relatives you'd like to shout out before we do round 1?
Any other politicians?
Yeah.
No, I would like to shout out the Maker and Me podcast, because we talk to people that make shit, and I went and got my haircut by Derek Simpson, and that motherfucker, Chance, your hair looks great, by the way. That guy, his hands just getting your locks, guys, and you just say go for it. Chance, you've had your haircut 4 or 5 times by him. You can agree with me here.
Yeah, I didn't even mean to either. He just like grabbed me and started running his fingers through my hair. I was like, what's going on? Kissed me on the neck. I was like, that's not COVID safe.
First haircut in 5 years. He did a hell of a job.
All right, but before Alex tells the story about how he was sitting next to Kennedy in the parade when he was assassinated, let's have Mitch's number 1.
Okay, yeah. So Alex, here it is. Number one is the Juicy Lucy. Psych. No. My number one, because a Juicy Lucy is just a derivative of a hamburger. My number one is a true Minnesota motherfucking dish, and I'm gonna do it way more justice than you did at number 5, and that is tater tot hot dish.
Okay.
First off, when you mentioned the ingredients for hot dish, you said cream of cheddar. Cheddar is made out of cream. You don't cream cheddar, it's already cream. It's cream of mushroom or cream of chicken, perhaps, maybe cream of celery. There's nothing called cream of cheddar. That is not a real thing. No. Okay, number 2, you gotta have a starch in there. Of course, the tater tots on top. And also, if you're putting canned vegetables in your tater tot hot dish, you are not Minnesotan. You are from Iowa or you are from Wisconsin, because you don't care about your children and you are willing to pump them full of sodium.
I am scoring.
What worse insult? There's no worse insult in the lexicon of Mitch Brinkman than saying you're from Iowa or Wisconsin.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm not listening to any more of this.
And tater tots.
We're talking to 3 people, but they're from those states.
Whether you call tater tots potato gems, potato royals, potato pom-poms, hash bites, Mexi nuggets, tachos, spud puppies, tater treats, oven crunchies, tasty treats, tasty taters, whatever you want to call them, they are the centerpiece of this, and they make this an otherworldly dish when they crisp up hot on top. They were invented in 1957 by the Ore-Ida Potato Company. Everyone knows that. Also, Lovinggood, I also have a note here too. Klobuchar is how you pronounce Senator Amy's name. Klobuchar.
Thank you. I didn't vote for her. So.
Well, you can, because you're not from Minnesota. So that makes a lot of sense.
But he did take her to homecoming, though. Little known fact.
Oh yes, of course. That's right. Yeah. Also, this is a beautiful food, because you keep talking about I don't know what it's like because I can't see the ground from my ivory tower. You know, all I can see is the stars from my own solarium in my mansion. You know, that kind of thing. You know, I don't know what the inside of a grocery store looks like, because Coleman goes and fetches all of my organic my organic vegetables that nobody asks for, but, you know, we have whole corporations dedicated to them, but nobody asked for them. Nobody asked for them. But the truth is, both sides of my family are dairy farmers. I come from the sloshing dairy bucket. I know I've used that term before, but it is very true, of Minnesota. My family is from Lake Wobegon, the fictional town that a whole goddamn radio show was based on and was successful for multiple decades on. So I take issue with your characterization of Mansion Mitch, because that is not true. You come to Minnesota, you see my house. I come from a hard scrabble upbringing. My grandfather walked 8 miles uphill both ways to school, to work, to his second job, and then back home to the farm again, where he would harvest every night. And now let
Even
me
in
tell
the
you,
spring.
Nobody doesn't know how farming works.
in Minnesota, we don't drink while we farm. We have incredibly efficient farms. We can harvest every single goddamn night. But
If
here,
I
let
was
me tell you the
harvesting in
history.
January, I'd need to drink.
Yes, exactly. But you left out a lot of key points about hot dish, and that is, one, it can be made many different ways. What you didn't mention in the Minnesota Congressional Hot Dish Off, as it's called, is that, you know, you could put Representative Ellison won one year with a Miracle Whip hot dish, which is insane to me, right? It sounds insane, but I bet it's delicious. Representative Benny McCollum won with a wild rice hot dish. I mean, you can go any direction you want, because wild rice is actually quite classy. That might be the classiest thing in Minnesota. But the origin story, the gritty tale that could be made into a Marvel movie of the hot dish is this. It originates at the Grace Lutheran Parish right there on 4th Street in Mankato, Minnesota. Now, supposedly, Katherine Anderson's sister, Mary Olson, had the original name and recipe for hot dish, you know, because she'd have to tell her kids, back off, until it had cooled down just a bit, you know, but once it was ready to eat, The speed at which the hot dish would disappear is, of course, stuff of legend, and that's why it's as popular as it is today. Now, Catherine presented the hot dish recipe as her own for the Grace Lutheran Church's Ladies' Aid Cookbook. We all know this, of course, 1930. And the backbone of the dish was there, a creamed soup, a starch, protein, and some veggies. But, remember, tater tots weren't invented until 1957. So if anyone tries to tell you that it was Margaret Halpern of Immaculate Lutheran over on 2nd Street, not true. And I read online in some forums that some folks are claiming it was Mary Lou Helgerson who brought the first hot dish to Dick Rembach's funeral at Bethlehem Lutheran over at Second Liberty. Also not true. It was Catherine Anderson who technically presented the first public hot dish by way of her sister Marie's recipe, of course, at the bake sale to send the GLC choir to the Twin Cities so they could sing in front of the Christmas tree in the IDS building. I go on and on. Everyone knows that, of course. Case closed. So, this, of course, is the best food on this list. Both of these lists. It's the only thing that has a congressional annual contest attached to it. Also, you kept saying Tim Waltz. His name is Tim Walls. There's no T in there. I urge you to read names before you try and say them out loud. And
Wow.
Lastly, I just want to say hot dish is a meal that brings people together. You put it at the center of the table. The steam rises. Everyone looks to the heavens, reminded why they're put on this earth, and that is to enjoy a hot, savory, delicious dish like tater tot hot dish. Thank you very much. That's it.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, hot dish, the dish that brings people together to debate which aggressively white woman threw a bunch of shit in the oven 80 years ago. Okay. Thank you, Mitch, for that beautiful and heartfelt defense of your choice. I knew this is something that had been weighing on your mind for a long time. It was a pleasure to see you get it out there.
Full-throated defense. Thank you very much.
Full-throated were not words I was going to use, but we'll go with them. Alex, it is over to you. I hope you once again, for the pleasure of us all, will use your full throat. That sentence got worse to me the further I got into it. Anyways, Alex, number one.
My number one is just two words. Actually, it's just one word.
Corn dip. No.
There's been a little bit of alcohol flowing over here in the Cheeseburger Monday studios, but let me get my list back up here. Guys, my number one is a simple thing, but it's known worldwide. It's known everywhere. It's the cheeseburger, right?
Yes, we know what that is.
Yeah, I have heard of it. Yeah,
It's no secret that Alex Lovinggood likes cheeseburger. I once famously ate 5 cheeseburgers and 2 hot ham and cheese sandwiches in one setting at Paul's Tavern in Dubuque, Iowa. There was no meth involved in that decision. But being in Dubuque, it was likely going to happen. Guys, the cheeseburger is the most iconic regional food ever. It is known everywhere. You could walk into the Chili's and say, "Give me a cheeseburger." You could walk into Barntown Brewing Company and say, "Give me a cheeseburger."
I think this might be what defines it as not being a regional food, as if it's known everywhere.
But listen to me here. It is a worldwide phenomenon, the cheeseburgers. But if you break down what a cheeseburger is, there are so many regional cheeseburgers. I just had to give my top 5 regional cheeseburgers, if that's okay.
The top 5 within the top 5. Let's go.
Okay, guys. So we're going to go to number 5 real quick. We're going to go the Crown Burger. You've got your 4-ounce patty. You've got that grilled on a nice flat top, lettuce, tomato, onion. But what Crown does, guys, is they top it with hot steamed pastrami, and they put that on there. and no cheese involved. It's one of the best, and I've had this one. I've not had it in Salt Lake City, but I've had it made at Barntown, and it is an absolutely fabulous, fabulous burger. It's been on Man vs. Food, the official best burgers of Utah. It is absolutely one of the best.
And what a great 4-minute episode of television that was.
So my number 4 favorite regional cheeseburger, guys, is the Connecticut steamed cheeseburger. So the Connecticut steamed cheeseburger, guys, and it's not made on a flat top. It's not made on a Weber grill. What you're doing here, it's not pan fried or grilled. It's made in a stainless steel cabinet containing trays that hold either. It's like you put your patty in there. It's usually a square. You put a hunk of
White
cheese
Castle.
on top.
It's just White Castle, right?
Okay, if you wouldn't mind letting me finish, I don't remember.
Sorry.
Interrupting
Okay.
you. Thank
Sorry.
you.
Yep.
Not White Castle. We'll get there in a minute. It's literally a cabinet with pans in there. Typically, there's about 3 or 4 slots in there. They put the meat in there, and it's steamed in there. But all of the fat drips out. The end result is a moist, juicy burger that is skewed by scooping the meat onto a bun and then pouring, almost like a rachoulet, like a French rachoulet cheese, pouring that melted cheese over the burger. You put your bun on top. You add your shredded lettuce. You maybe add some LTO on there. You're good to go.
And your number 3?
My number 3 cheeseburger, guys, is the Slug Burger. Like many of my dishes, these were born out of necessity because, I don't think I've chose a highbrow dish yet today, unlike Mitch. Everything that I have has been chosen out of necessity. A Slug Burger, originally called the Weeks Burger, guys, was a gentleman named John Weeks went into his butcher and he said, "Hey, I need this amount of ground beef, but hey, if you wouldn't mind, throw some potato flakes and flour in there." And then he would make his hamburgers, because what they're doing is they're extending the life. They're getting more out of the process than just the beef, right? And so they'd smell these small hamburgers called Weeks Burgers earlier than the 1950s, but really the 50s is when it became thing in the South. Grits became a thing that they would mix in with the beef. And the term Slug Burger came along because the slug was a nickname or a slang term for something that was about the size of a nickel, which is what they would serve these burgers as. So the Slug Burger, guys, is an absolutely phenomenal starch and meat burger substitute in there.
Wait, hold on. Did it cost a nickel or was the size of a nickel?
It cost a nickel. Sorry, I apologize.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. My number 2 favorite regional burger, guys, is the Oklahoma Fried Onion Burger. And Mitch, I'm going to look at you in the eyes here. Yes, this is similar to a White Castle, but White Castle dices their onions. What we're doing with the Oklahoma Fried Onion Burger is you're going to slice these whole. You're going to get those nice ribbons of onion. You're going to put those down on your hot flat top, get those nice and crispy. And then literally you're putting your 4-ounce patty right on the flat top, right on those onions. You're getting that char of the onion. You're getting that umami and that nice beef flavor from the beef. You're throwing maybe some pickles, maybe some mustard on this burger, but maybe a potato bun, because potato buns, guys, they soak up that juice much better than anything else. And then, of course, the reason we're all here today.
This is truly the moment that we've all been waiting for on this show. This is why the whole episode is happening, is for you to bring this home. Mitch, you have a thought here before we get started?
Yeah. So before he started this top 5 within the one list, he said the cheeseburger, and he's listed multiple burgers on this list that don't have cheese on them. Just want to point that out. Keep going.
It's an interesting thought.
That cheeseburgers are a ubiquitous term here. You can have no cheese. Cheeseburger is a term that kind of encapsulates.
It's a burger with cheese. Just say burger then. Why not?
Yeah, hamburger is also
hamburger. Okay.
Hamburger was a perfectly valid word for many years. I don't know what happened, but
so the number 1 regional burger is Minnesota's favorite, the Juicy Lucy,
which is actually a cheeseburger, not a burger.
You could argue it's a cheeseburger.
with cheese inside the meat instead of on top of it, resulting in a melted core of cheese. Now, Mitch, you probably know this, but a lot of people may not know this. But there's 2 bars in Minneapolis that claim to be the inventor of the burger. And those 2 bars are Matt's Bar and the 5-8 Club. Mitch, have you been to both of those bars? Just real quick, if you wouldn't mind.
I have, yep.
So I've only been to Matt's. I've not been to the 5-8 Club. So I will say you have me there. These bars, guys, they're literally on the same street. They're Cedar Avenue in South Minneapolis. Matt's credits the bar's former owner, Matt Bristol, of being the first one to start the Juicy Lucy. He purchased the bar in the 50s, and the Bristol family claims that the burger was on the menu before they purchased it, right? They say that the version of the burger, the Juicy Lucy, was invented by a customer. He said, hey, slab that cheddar cheese in between 2 patties, and he goes, ooh, that's one Juicy Lucy. After you've been into it. Now, if you're asking me from the outside, I would say that Matt's Bar is the originator here. The 5-8 Club, while they claim to be the original, just because they opened up as a speakeasy in the 1920s, they do not offer a written origin story of the Juicy Lucy. Guys, listen. Cheeseburgers are regional. Cheeseburgers are universal. Everyone eats cheeseburgers. Listen,
I'm not sure you know what both of those words mean.
Cheeseburgers are so regional that they've become a universal thing where you can go to China to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger. You can go to Thailand to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger. With all of these,
because it's still McDonald's.
Yeah, let me listen here. God damn it, the liquor got to me tonight. Cheeseburgers started by people like Matt Bristol. They started by the Pete's that does their steamed burger in Connecticut. They started by Henry J. Down in Alabama, who did the Slug Burger. They started these phenomenons and they grew. These are local, regional things that grew into a phenomenon. You wouldn't have a cheeseburger today if it weren't for the regionality that started them. I rest my case. Cheeseburgers are the number 1, or hamburgers. Fuck you, Mitch, for semantics.
All right. Well, that is it.
I'm not done talking yet. Are the number
forever.
1 regional food there is. Because while they are everywhere, you go to anywhere in Illinois or in America and you will find a regional cheeseburger. You go to the Lacey Edge Burger that are popular in Northwest Indiana. You go down to to Florida to get the Cubanos. The Cubano, oh man, I'm having a brain fart here.
Or you could go to Cuba to get Cubano food also.
Cheeseburgers.
All right, that's it. I'm calling time on this. Arguments have been made. Our 2 contestants have valiantly duked it out. We are here at the point where we need to have a score from round 1. Chance, you are our guest judge. Please give us your scores for round 1. Then we'll move over to Brian and we'll tabulate the finals. Let's hear what you got to say.
Well, fuck, I forgot what Mitch said. Lovinggood talked for an hour and a half. I mean, all I remember from Mitch is at this point was he pretty much said, like, fuck Iowa. And that just makes me not want to help him. But then Lovinggood, called out my hometown and said the meth comment. So I'm like back on I don't really want to help either of these guys. I'm gonna give old Mitchy Poo. I'm taking away a point for the Iowa hate, and you're lucky. That's me being very generous, and it's only because I pretty much forgot what you said. But you were, I do remember you were rather detailed with the history of the their hot dish, and so I'll give you 2 points. Lovinggood, I was very willing to give you 3 points, and then you talked for an extra 30 minutes, so I'm going to give you 1 point.
All right.
Wow.
All right, those are the scores from Chance, our guest judge. Brian, please provide us with the scores for round number 1.
Now, I am a man of integrity, I said we started by describing horseshoes and hot dishes as diarrhea plates. So Mitch decided to bookend his list. We started with diarrhea. We're ending with diarrhea. And you used about 40 terms to describe what everyone only calls a tater tot. Nobody calls them gems or whatever fucking bullshit you said. No. Out of your state.
Yeah.
With a place where you play duck, duck, gray duck. I'm not taking anything from what you say seriously. You said your grandpa goes uphill both ways. Your family doesn't know how to use a map. So I don't understand why he does that. So I'm going to go with 1 point for that. For Alex, you said, quote, beef flavor from the beef. You also said that these were universal regional foods. And as one of the editors of this show, I have to cut around your black lung. So only 1 point for you as well.
When you do the Instagram post, can it just be a quote from Lovinggood and it's just...
Literally, he just lit a cigarette after we roasting him for coughing through the whole episode, and he just lit a cigarette.
You guys are stressing me out.
That's actually what he just did. That was the game theory optimal move from Lovinggood. Oh dear God! All right. I have to tally the scores. I have a couple other things I tallied. I was counting all the words that we said over this entire episode, and I can tell you that 4 of the top 10 in our food episode were slug, garbage, butt, and diarrhea. So very appetizing, boys. That's delicious. I'm going to do just some final math here, and oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, beer. Well, Alex, you came on this show. You called out Mitch. You had it all on the line, and I can tell you scored 9 points. And Mitch, you're a man who believes fully in home court advantage. You protect your gold. You're like a leprechaun protecting your gold on home court. That was actually a metaphor that my freshman year basketball coach used. I still don't know what it means entirely, but you scored 12 points. You have defended the honor of yourself and Über Cinco. You are the victor. As the winner, Mitch, I believe you are entitled to make a little speech, a little toast, whatever you deem necessary. The floor is yours.
Here I have a glass of champagne. You hear that tink on the microphone? That is a beautiful glass of Bellator Gran Spumante. It is champagne with a lot of sugar in it. So I just want to say thank you for coming on, Alex Lovinggood. And it's been a true pleasure putting you back into your place, although I'm very jealous of all your politician photos. And I'm sad to see your hair is gone, but cheers to you. Cheers to the future. Cheers to a new day in America. Thank you very much.
All right, here.
It was an honor to come on the show. Thank you, Mitch, so much. If anything, I know I have better internet than you, so.
Oh, crap.
That's it. The game is over. And so that means all that is left is for my Fast 5 send-off. This is the top 5 most embarrassingly named bands that I have played in. Number 5, Standing Room Only. Now, this might not be that embarrassing or funny, but I was actually in a band with this name my junior year of high school. So you get a little truth free of charge before we move on to the fun stuff. Also, I could only think of 4 jokes, so I had to use a real one. Number 4, most embarrassingly named band that I have been a member of. Horse Priest. Now, this was a thrash punk band I was in that was named in honor of dear Father McCallahan, a priest who ministered primarily to the equine species. All right, number 3. Now, this is a band I was in that played mostly catchy, inoffensive heartland rock steeped in Americana, and we were called Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Turns out there was already a band with that name that explored a lot of the same thematic territory, so we didn't last. Number 2, Horse Priest. This was a jazz trio that I slapped the bass for briefly in the Greenwich Village scene, and we were named after Monsignor Seattle Slew, the only horse to actually be ordained by the Catholic Church. And number 1, the number 1 most embarrassingly named band that I have been a member of. This was the sludge nu metal death band whose dark sound and cryptic lyrics were belied by our last-minute name change that saw our audiences in the single digits when we toured with Ozfest. Perhaps we should not have named my band after one of my ex-girlfriend's dogs. That's right, we were Peanut Butter Jones and the Graham Cracker 5. And that does it for today's Über Cinco grudge match. Joining us to help score all the way from Des Moines, Iowa, and the Maker and Me podcast was
Chance Ingles.
And keeping an eye on things from UBK Towers in Berwyn was
Brian Ernst.
the orchestrator of today's shenanigans, also from the Maker and Me podcast, and apparently political high roller was.
I hate you, Mitch. I'm Alex Lovinggood.
and our special little guy, the big winner from the Southport corridor in Chicago was
Mitch Brinkman.
And I've been Nathan Hennenfent, and as Bizbear always says, if you come at the king, you best not miss. Auf Wiedersehen and adios.
You've just listened to Über Cinco, a production of UBK Studios. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your fine podcasts from.
If you like what you hear and want to support the show, please visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/UBKstudios. Every little bit helps us keep the lights on and the bill collectors at bay.
Keep tabs on us on all the social media at UBK Studios, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see that we really are just a bunch of good Midwestern boys.